Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Archgenomaxx here, and welcome back. And today, we are building something inspired by this. This is from the Gundam Wing series back from 1995 to 1996. We are going to call this PL Xenon. That is plain Luft Xenon. Plain Luft, German for air, and xenon, one of the noble gases from our periodic table of elements. You might be wondering why I call it xenon. To be honest, there's no real answer for that. I just want to call all my airbound, Kerbal airbound aircraft upon the noble gases in our periodic table of elements. As you could see, I started adding the fuselage and I added the ladder because I always forgot that part of the aircraft. And now we are starting to show the wings, add the wings, and making sure. A while ago I checked the symmetry because I also forgot that. And most of my experience in Kerbal Space Program always rounds about forgetting something, forgetting the symmetry, unbalance this, unbalance that. I recorded this like I think 3 times while building this because each time I forget something. One piece like that, I forgot to add the fuselage, the air brakes, forget the front canards, the front ladder, so my Kerbal can't go out of the airplane, or it can go out but it can't go up because this is a little high. Later you will see the amount of clearance that I will add to the plane when it lands. Now we're adding the side. I think they call it the vertical tail of the airplane. Now ailerons, and making sure the distance is right. I'm a little OC. No, not OC. A little particular on the alignment. There's no much clipping on I think also some base fan of the Kerbal Space Program is a little bit particular on the clipping because it doesn't look realistic. So you have to consider the clipping sometimes. So yeah, like that. You know what I mean. And I'm turning on the lights. Maybe you will see later why I will turn on the lights. I'll explain it later why I turn on the lights on the landing gears. And you see I'm adjusting the friction spring. To be honest, I put those springs and friction controls vice versa. Because the friction supposed to be on the friction 2 settings must be on the back, and the lower settings on the friction must be on the front, or you will do a spin on the runway when you do your takeoff. I've added those controls surfaces, but I don't know if they're effective, but just to be sure, I added them. And now you could see I forgot the air brakes. But don't worry, I'm adding a list of the parts that I use for this supersonic transporter on the middle of this video. And now, let's take this TL Xenon for a spin. Uh, to be to be honest, this thing is loud. Uh, uh, I minimize the noise of this engine and still it's hitting a -6 on the video audio editor, and this is low. This is low recording. So if you're planning to build this, be ready. Be ready. Be ready with your ears. Be ready with your earphones. You will this sound, this monotonous engine sound will be for the whole duration of your flight. And now I'm actually aiming for a 10 degrees because I'm trying to hit quickly the 10,000 meter mark, because there's less air there, so there's less resistance, so there's less fuel, or you will still have to use all the same amount of fuel, but you gain large amount of speed. You're compensating the reduction, the increase on fuel consumption with the airspeed. Now we just hit Mach 1 on the speed, and in just a few seconds or a few minutes you will hit Mach 2. This is a little speed up, so you won't have to you don't have to spend the whole time flying with me. And I added the music so you won't hear the monotonous sound of the engine as I explained ago. And we'll be hitting 686 meters per second. That's Mach 2 on the speed, and we're about to level out at 10 kilometers. And I will usually drop the engine speed at 66.6% of the engines to reduce the fuel consumption, but still gaining a good amount of speed. Oh, we just hit Mach 3 at 1029 meters per second. And now we're nearing, oh no, I'm sorry. Mach 4 is around 1372 meters per second if Google is correct. No, more likely it's correct. You will see me checking the map, the world view, because this thing with its speed can reach certain distances at around 6 minutes or 12 minutes depending on your distance, and to be sure it will be landing on the spot. We have to turn off the engine like this because we're just going to glide it until it touches down on your target area. So you have to be particular on the height. It's around 11 kilometers or 12 kilometers, and we'll be starting to glide. It's like a supersonic glider now than a supersonic air transport. But with this gliding, it helps with the fuel consumption, fuel economy, and later you will see what I do when I land this, what speed I land it, where I will deploy the air brakes. And we're now down at around almost Mach 2.5, I think. And we're already on the 9,000, and I switched to ground level because ground level at sea is the same at sea level, but sometimes the ground level changes because there's hills, there's rolling plains, there's mountains. So when you're landing, try to switch it on the ground level altimeter, because sometimes you will misjudge the distance and you will be absolutely crashing or dismantling your precious plane. And and as this gameplay is actually on a career mode, so you will see why I'm using a supersonic transport later. Why? You must be wondering now why this is being used at the career mode, where science and money is very important. Later I'll explain you. Now we're at around 1,000 kilometers and we'll be deploying the air brakes and the brakes for the landing gear. And now you will see why I put the lights on the landing gear, because this, as you can see below, now you see where you're landing or when you are near the ground. You don't have to look at the altimeter, and you could just let it glide. Let it glide. We're around 130 meters per second. This is a little fast, but to be honest, this is enough for Kerbal Space Program landing, especially on planes. And now we're hitting the top of the hill. A little touchdown. A little more. A little more. There you go. And slowly, slowly, we're almost 50, 40 meters per second. I don't usually put high type of brakes because I usually put 90 on the back and 75 on the front, because sometimes it will jerk the plane suddenly. It suddenly stops, so it's a little bad for the plane and the passengers if you want to be a little realistic, even though they don't need food and air. And now in a few minutes I'll show you now I will show you a little why this is a science career mode plane to be used. Now we will deploy the ramps, the solar panel, so we don't use the charge of the plane. And out goes one of our Kerbals. And now, I put it in the wrong way. It won't go down. And release, let go, and grab! There you go. Slowly, slowly. Okay. Who's this? Bob Kerman. Okay, now Bob Kerman show our viewers what's in store and what's in the back. And there you go, a science rover. Sometimes in career mode there are areas you need to go down, don't use a plane. There's our objectives at this certain point in the atmosphere. There's some point in the ground, so we need a rover to do our sciences outside. And planes are technically a little bit hard to maneuver, even because they're not wheel powered, they're engine powered. So you have to have good skills on your decreasing speed and adjustment driving, and they're a little bit hard to drive when there are planes. Unlike a rover, you could drive it to the certain point, then do the science, do whatever science, or if it's the EVA or the golf science, or the temperature, the seismometer, that science arm. And now I'm loading it up again just because this is just a sample, and this is how I do it in career mode. This is my special transport when I got that Whiplash engine, Supersonic engine, because before it's actually a it's like a C5 or C17 Globemaster style transport, and it's way taking too longer to get to point A to point B. Then suddenly you have to go to a point C sometimes in a career mode. So now this is how I do my science today. And don't worry, next episode I'm going to show you how I build that rover. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please send a like and a subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.